Yo, welcome to the Horns Up Podcast, your home for all things Los Angeles Rams. I'm your host, Johan. This is my co-host, Rune. You can find us on our socials at Rams Nation and Puka Nakua Lover 12. From breaking news to game breakdowns, hot takes to honest fan reactions, we're here to bring you the highs, the lows, and everything in between. If you bleed blue and gold, this is your spot. All right, Rune, here we are in our third episode going strong. We got a lot of news going around the league right now, a lot of rumors, a lot of just a lot of stuff going on in football in general. I mean, there's, trade rumors, there's training camp coming to an end, there's the preseason coming up. So why don't we dive right in and talk about some of the Rams training camp that's been going on? First, we'll start off with someone that's really been showing out in camp. He's been the talk of the town. He's been making plays all over the field, left and right. His name is Nate Landman. Tell me a little bit about Nate Landman, Rune.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I've just gotten when we first signed him, I was like, all right, who the hell's this guy? But now, I mean, I've seen some film. I mean, I watched him up close at training camp. I mean, he just looks like a stud, man. He's a great run stopper.
Yeah, Nate Landman, great run stopper. That's what he's known for in Atlanta. If you didn't know, he was in Atlanta before he came to the Rams. He was pretty good over there. He was with a familiar face and Raheem Morris, head coach for the Falcons. So he probably knew how to play this defense already. Chris Shula, his defense is pretty similar to Raheem Morris. He learned a lot from him. He was under him for a while, so. Yeah, Nate Landman, he's been showing out, making plays all over the field, and it's starting to look like he can be our number one linebacker. Is that what it's looking like here?
That's what I've heard from a lot of people. And going into this season, I thought it was just gonna be like, all right, Omar Spates is gonna be the solidified one. We might get a guy or two to help back it up. But
Right.
now I think it's just gonna be Landman is really gonna take control of that linebacker room, and Spates is just gonna be kind of the sidekick to Landman.
And I think that'll be good for Spades as well. Last year, he went from undrafted free agent to making the roster, and then starting by week 7, he had a lot thrown on him really fast. Think about it. I mean, you're an undrafted free agent coming out of LSU. You don't even know if you're going to make the team. And then next thing you know, a couple months later, you're the starting linebacker here. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a guy like Omar Speights, especially a rookie. So I think him being next to Nate Landman is actually really going to help him a lot. And Nate Landman, he can kind of play off of Omar Speights. Omar Speights, he's a great tackler, just like Landman. I feel like Nate Landman's a really good run stuffer, while Omar Speights is he's more of our pass coverage guy. And I don't know if you look at the PFF grades too much, we got into a little bit last week, but Nate Landman, he was actually 44th out of 189th out of all linebackers in run defense. So we know he's legit. Coverage grade, not too good. Pass rush grade, a little bit down there, but we know what we brought him in for, and that's to stop the run, which is something that held us back last year, and especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, just going back a little bit. When you look at Landman and you look at all aspects of his game, run stopping, you look at edge rushing and just tackling and coverage, we really only need him for two things, and that's tackling and stopping the run. I mean, that's what killed us in the playoffs last year.
Right. Yeah, we saw that against the Eagles about 2 times. Saquon broke off some big runs. Some other teams too. I feel like our team on defense, we don't really have any dogs up there, especially in the linebacker room. We don't have anyone that's just gonna say, you know what, you're not getting past the line of scrimmage. We're gonna stonewall you. We're gonna stuff you right here. In the linebacker room, it's an important part in that because as good as our D line is, and our outside linebackers and our D ends, the linebackers play a big part too. And them not being able to stuff the run last year kind of killed our momentum.
Yeah. Every good team with a good defense, it starts with the linebackers.
Right. Even in the division, you look at Seahawks, they have our guy there, Ernest Jones. Even the Niners, they have Fred Warner. If you look at some of the best playoff teams, they all have their certified dog linebacker. Look at the Bills, they have Matt Milano. Chiefs, Nick Bolton. Every team has that number one linebacker who's just going to leave it all on the field. And I think Nate Landman can break out as the guy this year in the Rams defense. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I really think he can play that role as the good linebacker. He's obvious. He's not going to be Fred Warner. He's not going to be Matt Milano or Zach Bond. Like
Right.
he's not going to be like that. But he can play a similar role in our defense.
Yeah, and with that being said, Nate Landman, very big candidate to break out this year. A lot of hope for him. And I think we all have a lot of faith in him, in this linebacker room. So that's a guy to watch out for this year. Speaking of guys to watch out for, we have a couple breakout picks that we're gonna go ahead and share with you guys. All right. And speaking of players that are breaking out, such as Nate Landman, why don't we go ahead and get into our next segment here? Me and Ruin are going to be talking about our three breakout picks for this upcoming season. Stay tuned. We will be right back at you right now. All right, Ruin, let's go ahead and get into our three breakout picks. Do you want to start or you want me to go ahead and kick things off?
I'll start and just starting off in the DB room. My first guy that I picked is Manuel Forbes.
Mm,
And I mean, there's a couple reasons I feel that Manuel Forbes is going to break out. Number one, considering he had almost little to no usage last year, he's gonna take a step up, and he'll probably rotate in almost every game, and he'll get some first team reps.
yeah, we haven't really seen anything from Emmanuel Forbes other than training camp clips, which is always nice to see. But we've seen a lot of guys have really good training camp clips and they don't amount to anything. But Emmanuel Forbes is a guy that a lot of people have faith in. The opportunity is there for him if you look at the depth chart and the roster. And obviously, Chris Shula and the team loves him because he's just been talked about all the time since camp started, right?
Yeah, and kind of just there's a couple of reasons why I think he's gonna break out. Number one is he's obviously bulked up. I think it was somewhere, was it 20 pounds, you think?
I think it was like 10 or 15,
It
maybe.
was it was somewhere in the 15 to 20 pound range, I think, but he did bulk up, which is a good sign considering his nickname is Sticks.
Right.
So it's that's really good to see that he bulked up. And number one thing I saw is that his coverage, I mean, he was on him like glue. I mean, his coverage looked really good.
Yeah, Emmanuel covered.
Right.
Emmanuel Forbes is looking solid, man. And I mean, him paired up with someone that we're gonna get into right now should, should equal out to a pretty good DB room. Which that next guy, let me go ahead and get into it, which is my first breakout pick, the Land Shark, Kobe Durant. Kobe Durant, he's solid, man. He's looking great for the upcoming year. Kobe, he's sick. Last year, he showed a lot of potential. He got a lot of opportunity last year. And this year, he's just going to continue to get more potential. Kobe, he's the CB2 right now behind Akello. And I know Kello, he's getting a little older. A lot of people dislike him. But Kobe Durant, I think he's actually going to benefit from sitting behind Kello, don't you think?
I don't know why it was so funny, but I think he fall down. But um, yeah, I think Kobe is just gonna be a baller this year. He's in the same boat as Emmanuel. He's dude,
Emmanuel
I can't
coverage.
talk, man.
Emmanuel coverage and the Land Shark.
Yeah, no, but they've both gotten so much better in coverage. Stop fucking smiling, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, the DB room, it's looking really solid right now, and it's just gonna get better. As long as when these guys get more experience. Sorry, right now we're having a little laugh right now if you're just joining in. But yeah, the DB rooms, it's looking great right now in training camp, and hopefully it translates to success in the season. And speaking of the DB room, Rune's gonna go ahead and get into his second breakout candidate for this upcoming season. Got a little walk up.
Yeah, so my second guy, just sticking in the DB room, is a captain that is he's pretty overshadowed, and I don't even know why. And it's safety Quentin Lake. Now I might be a little biased because he signed my little helmet that I have in my room, and he dapped me up at
Yeah.
training camp. But I mean, no, I've seen it for, I mean, ever since he's got drafted and took control of the safety room. I mean, he's just a captain. He's one of the biggest on that defense, man.
Yeah, Quentin Lake, he's great, man. He's a fan favorite, a team favorite. He's one of my favorites. I watched him at UCLA. Go Bruins. So I've been watching Quentin Lake for a while, man. And let me tell you, he's grown a lot as a player. He's great. And he's really locked down that star position. I think we can agree, right?
Yeah, he's going to be. He's definitely going to be in that first team safety. I think he's the best safety on our roster. That's just me. You can say Cameron Kinchins. I don't think Cameron Kinchins
Or
was
John
good enough
Johnson.
last season, or John Johnson. You could say John Johnson too,
Yeah,
but we didn't see much of John Johnson last year.
I know.
But what was wrong? Did he was he hurt?
Yeah, he was hurt last year. I miss John Johnson, man. He's
Yeah,
really great.
he's an OG.
Yeah, John Johnson's great. So why don't we go ahead and get into our last couple guys here? I'm just gonna go ahead and run through it real quick because we are running out of time right now. My last two guys that I have breaking out are Omar Speights and Tutu Atwell. So let me do a little 1-2 here. First, we'll start off with Omar Speights. We talked about him a little bit in the last episode, so that's why I'm kind of making it short right now. If you guys watched it, you guys already heard our take on Omar Speights. But Omar Speights, he's gonna be great, man. He was great last year. He had his first little breakout, and I think this year is gonna be an even bigger breakout. Omar Speights, he's really only behind Nate Landman, who we talked about earlier. I don't think anyone else in this linebacker room is ahead of Omar Speights right now. And in terms of Tutu Atwell, finally a guy on the offense, I think that Tutu Atwell, he's going to be used a lot this year. In the past, we've seen Tutu Atwell get used here and there, or when a guy's injured, or when Cooper Kupp was out, or when Puka would exit the game early. Now, I feel like we're really going to be able to see his full potential because he's going to have a bigger role. Because you don't just pay a guy 10 million a year for 1 year, 1 year of Tutu Atwell. You don't pay 10 million just for him to do what he's been doing, which is, kind of take a back seat, make plays when he gets his chances. I think he has to be a starter this year, right? He's the third guy in the rotation. Yeah, Rune agrees, obviously. He gave me the little head nod. You want to get into your last guy?
Yeah. So my last guy here is somebody I've really just preached about since the day he signed a contract with the Rams, and that is D lineman number 95, Puna Ford.
Big Puna
Uh,
Ford.
so obviously, I remember sitting in my Spanish class. Uh, Miss Borda, if you're watching, you fucking suck. But uh, no, I remember asking to go to the bathroom. I remember looking at my phone. It's Rams sign D lineman Puna Ford, and I immediately see this. I'm like, we're moving on from Bobby Brown, huh? And then I read into it. I look at film, I look at PFF, I look at all sorts of stuff, and I almost just fell in love with Puna Ford just as a player, man. I mean, he's bigger than Bobby Brown. That's one thing. That's one
He,
positive.
and weight, he's a little shorter. He is a little shorter on the D
He's
line.
built he's built bigger.
Yeah. He's probably like burly. There we go. He's burly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But he's more built than Bobby Brown. I feel like even though Bobby Brown was a pretty good run stopper, Puna Ford is he's just better. He's just better at stopping the run than Bobby Brown, in my opinion.
And he's proved that he could do it year in and year out. We've seen it. We've seen it really closely as Rams fans. A lot of us, as much as we don't like to admit it, most of us see the Chargers on TV. We see their games. They're the other LA team. As much as you might not like them, I mean, you can't ignore them. You're gonna see Charger stuff pop up on your feed. You're gonna hear about the Chargers. You're gonna hear Charger fans talk. And I've been in contact with some Charger fans and they really love Puna Ford. Even some Seahawks fans when he was on the Seahawks. He was great back then. So I'm excited to have Puna Ford now. I wish we could talk about him all day, which, we could. But let's get into our third segment here, which is going to be more on Matthew Stafford's injury and Stetson Bennett. All right, here we are with the third segment. We got one more to go. Third segment, Matthew Stafford injury, a little bit of an update on Stetson Bennett and Jimmy G. You want to tell us about Stafford right now and his injury?
Yeah, so Stafford is considered at this point what McVay says is week to week. Now, us fans, of course, we're not insiders. We're not team doctors.
Right,
So we don't really know a true diagnosis. We don't know what's going on. But I think from what I've heard and from just what McVay has said, it's just a bad back. And is that holding them back? Yeah, I mean it is. But the good thing is that it's happening now
right.
and
Yeah,
that it's happening in training camp.
I'd
Yeah,
rather have it happen right now than Stafford exiting the game in week 2 or 3 and he's out for a couple weeks because that could really derail the season. And we've seen the Rams take a lot of precaution with players, especially right now in training camp. We've seen guys leave practice early. We've seen guys, not attend practice. We've seen guys take a day off, which I think is good. As much as you want to push these guys and see what you've got, when you have starters that are solidified guys like Matthew Stafford, like Devontae Adams, and like Puka Nacua, these guys probably deserve a day off or two. And I think that it's a smart move being cautious with Stafford right now because there's really no point of making him, go to training camp, work his ass off, practice hard, and his back's hurting the whole time. And it's going to be worse by the time week 1 comes, right?
yeah. And you have to be extra cautious with a player of his age because he is going into year 17 and he's playing the quarterback position. You have to be more careful with your quarterback than almost just any other player on your roster because the quarterback makes your roster.
Yeah. I don't want to say Stafford's fragile already, but he is kind of getting there. But the good news about Stafford not being at practice is we get to see more of Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett, we took him in the fourth round a couple years ago. Last offseason, it wasn't looking good for Stetson, especially once it hit the preseason. I remember he threw, what was it, 5 picks and 1 touchdown. It was a game winner, so he kind of does have that clutch factor, which you love to see. But still, Stetson, he's looking a lot better in training camp. It looks like he's starting to read things on the field faster and easier. And it looks like he's just having a better time out there compared to last year.
Yeah. And he is I have seen things. He's trying to make a push for the QB2 spot. He's battling with Jimmy Garoppolo. Do I think Stetson's gonna win that battle? No, not at all. Like I have a lot of high praise for Jimmy, and so does my boy Tuna. Shout out Tuna, but
Yeah, I love
uh,
Stetson. I think he's going to be great. I want him to be great. He's really our only backup plan right now. And in terms of long term, because Jimmy G, he's not going to be our long time backup. He's not going to take over when Stafford's out. The only guy on the roster that you could really say that has a chance of being the next guy up or has a chance of being someone in the future is Jimmy G. Or sorry, not Jimmy G. Stetson. Unless you want to count Dresser Win too, but I don't think he really has a
yeah,
good future.
uh,
So
I I'll take a quick hell no on Dresser.
Yeah, Dresser win. He's a fan favorite, but he's not a team favorite. Is
Fan
that a
favorite?
reach?
I would say a Johan favorite, maybe.
Yeah, it might be a hot take to some, but Dresser win. I feel like there's a reason he comes back every year. The fans love him. They want to see more of him. McVay McVay loves him. The team probably loves him. Shout out Dresser win. But yeah, Dresser win. Stetson Bennett, Jimmy G, a lot going on in the backup QB rooms. And I feel like Stetson has the most potential to be the next guy up. So yeah, Stetson, looking good in training camp. You love to see it. All right, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode of the Horns Up podcast. I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. If you're part of the Ramley, don't forget to like, follow, and share. And also go ahead and check us out on different platforms. We're now on Spotify, Apple Music, we're here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. So yeah, go ahead and check us out. We have new episodes dropping weekly. And hey, we're just getting started. Until next time, keep your horns up and go Rams.
See ya.